So first up we have the Valkyrie Sky Talon from Warhammer 40,000. Of course, the Valkyrie is the standard dropship of the Imperial Guard, who I believe have now been renamed the Astra Militarium, or rather not renamed, but given an extra name. This sub-variant is specifically used by the Elysian drop troops as a means of deploying these Taurus buggies. I think this is really cool, and as a theme you will begin to see in this video, I think, is just the concept of dropships is just so cool. The whole, especially vehicle dropships, the whole idea of something just swooping in and deploying ground vehicles and ground forces just has this inherent awesomeness to it, and I can't pin down exactly why, but it's just such a cool thing. I think this Valkyrie variant has had its weapons removed. It might have some kind of small chin gun, but it's missing most of the wing-mounted weaponry the default one has, and the entire troop compartment and door gun has been replaced with clamps for these buggies. I really like the sort of outrigger jet turbine engines on the Valkyrie's wings. You can see them here on the tips of the wings, and I believe in Space Marine and Dawn of War you can sometimes see those firing, and it gives this really cool look to the vehicle as it's pulling into land and such. The Taurus buggy design is excellent too. I love the modular weapon loadouts at the back. You can get them with las cannons, auto cannons, and I believe I've seen one with a flamer, which is very cool. And I've also seen them set up in different kind of camouflage schemes with like khaki and like netting and stuff for swamp environments. Just overall, a really cool dropship and a really cool buggy and a fantastic concept. Just an incredibly cool visual style overall. No dropship list would be complete without the UNSC Pelican, the fan favourite from Halo. Now this design is heavily inspired by the Cheyenne dropship from Aliens, and I'm going to lose some fans here by saying I really hate that ship, the Cheyenne from Aliens. Every time it folds open those missile pods one at a time, like left to right, and the whole ship lurches around because they're not doing it simultaneously, it just makes me cringe. It's just such an ugly animation. I really can't stand it. I mean, I'm sure if you like that ship, then more power to you, but it just doesn't do anything for me. I think, honestly, the Pelican just fixes everything about that. It takes the cool parts of that design and, like, extrapolates it into a whole ship that just looks awesome. Again, we've got a cool vehicle drop system, but this time it's, like, supplementary to the troop compartments, and it's, like, hanging below the engines at the back, which looks great. The whole thing looks brilliant. The articulated wings with the VTOL engines and the sort of blast shield troop door. It's got a nicely modelled interior as well. It's just always cool when you're sitting in the back of one of these things in the game, or it's using it to establish a scene. It has a great motion on screen. It has a fantastic grounded look to it with a very real-world military style. It looks very plausible. There's really not too much detail to go into on the ship because it really is just a solid, simple, great-looking design. So an excellent job to the Halo designers there. Really cool ship. So here we have another very simple design that I just really love. This is the UT-47A Kodiak from Mass Effect 3. And this is maybe the design in Mass Effect which best takes advantage of the actual Mass Effect lore and phenomena with Element Zero, etc. Because this ship completely relies upon the Mass Effect phenomena to function. It basically lowers its mass to almost nothing, and then angles those engines downwards slightly to contradict gravity on a planet. So when it's in atmosphere, it doesn't act too differently from when it's in space. That system is completely communicated by the visuals of this design. It's literally just the 4 big engines with all of the various compartments stuck between them. And in spite of it being that simple, literally just a box with 4 engines, it just looks really cool. It's packed with all kinds of useful utilities. We see in one part that the deck of the troop compartment folds up into a heavy gun for one of the Marines to use. And in the Citadel DLC, we get a good look at the cockpit interior with the nice holographic controls and the projected interior screen. Again, it's just a solid, simple design that makes a lot of sense, nice utilitarian frame, while still managing to nail a nice aesthetic overall. In second place, the Republic gunship, which I expect many of you thought would be in first place. It certainly is an excellent design that had to be included on this list. It's just an awesome looking ship, it really is. I feel like most of the best Republic designs came in Revenge of the Sith, but we got the Acclamator and the Republic gunship from Attack of the Clones, and the Republic gunship is certainly the greatest contribution, I think. It really got some fantastic attention in Clone Wars. It was always involved, and I just love seeing these arrive in any scene. They've got that kind of double dome cockpit that's kind of inspired by modern helicopter gunships. The way the doors open outwards and then retract backwards, it just gives it a great visual effect when it's coming in to deploy troops. And although they're sometimes not there and sometimes are, I do like the glass ball beam turrets on the port and starboard. During the Battle of Geonosis sequence in Attack of the Clones, we get some fantastic sequences of these firing missiles at Trade Federation ships and such. I say this a lot, but it really does have a great kind of profile and motion on screen. It's something that is really good from every angle, with the big fierce looking gun hardpoints on the top of the hull and the smaller, more accurate chin guns at the front. This thing's just bristling with weapons, and it's got the sort of run-through troop compartment, and it just looks great. One of the coolest designs that Star Wars came up with overall, even not just confined to the prequel trilogy. A really fantastic dropship. And finally, in first place, another Star Wars one, the U-Wing. Now this is, from a spaceship standpoint, probably the best contribution Disney have made to the Star Wars franchise thus far. It's just so loyal to the original style of the original trilogy. Like, this would not be an inch out of place in the Massassi base in A New Hope. They did an amazing job of making this look like it was straight out of the original movie, which is a difficult task, really, and it's the first time the Alliance have had a ship of this kind of role. As far as I know, in the entire Star Wars canon, really, even in Legends, I remember they didn't really have too much with this kind of a purpose, certainly not this high profile. And not only did they stay loyal perfectly to the original Alliance style, but they also created just a really cool ship here. Again, it's got the all the way through troop compartment that I love, but it has the S-foils with different configurations for spaceflight and combat and troop deployment. I really like how the interior kind of angles up toward the cockpit, and they have like the radio station and all that. It feels like some kind of like Vietnam combat helicopter or something. Everything's very analog and sort of rustic and hands-on. I love the big X-Wing style engine nacelles. I love that it's kind of Incom stylization. Well, it is an Incom ship, and I'm really glad that we got to see it in Star Wars Rebels briefly as well, in a really cool paint scheme for the Partisans, actually. And it's starting to show up more and more in like post-episode 6 period stuff. It was in Battlefront 2. Anywhere they can fit this ship in more often, I'm completely behind it, because it's just a really cool design. Definitely my favourite dropship here. So massive props to the designers for nailing that original trilogy feel and adding a really cool ship to the roster of Star Wars strike craft. Thank you for watching Spacedock. Please remember to like, subscribe and share for more science fiction spacecraft summaries. If you enjoy the channel, why not consider pledging your support on Patreon? For just $1 a month, you'll be able to access the Spacedock schedule to see what's coming up.